This is your announcer, Shannon Saint Mainframe, welcoming you to our IP Livecast. With the new year, comes new firmware upgrades for Shannon. I'm told my 2023 software will be less salty, however there will be some side effects. I am sure it will be okay though. Aren't we all happy to be alive today? The Frankie Paul Mary podcast starts now.
Not quite, Shannon. It's the RIP Livecast. It's fine. Welcome to RIP Livecast. A new year, a new Shannon. Same me. I'm exactly the same as I was last year. And thank you, Frankie. It's Rob here with Sid.
Hey.
And Darren.
Hi.
Welcome to RIP Livecast. We're on every Saturday afternoon from sometime after 12 to, 90 minutes or so. And, of course, archived after on all podcasting platforms. You can get all of our episodes at riplivecast.com. And over there, you can get links to our Discord chat where you can hang out with us all week long. And we can have a chill. We can hang. Be nice. Follow us on our social medias at riplivecast. And if you want a little extra Livecast, you can always hit up our Patreon, patreon.com/RIPLivecast. $5 a month gets you 2 bonus episodes a month. How has your new year been so far, gentlemen?
Well, I wanted to just tag on to something you just said, which is about our Discord being chilled. It is the perfect word for what our Discord is. It's like not one of those, like I'm in a few other Discords and it's like there's messages just fucking scroll by so quickly. It's like we have a fairly moderately sized following, but very dedicated, very funny. It's like another whole show in there. And I really doesn't have the feel of most other Discords that I'm in. It's like a very tight-knit community. And I really enjoy going in there and checking it every day.
Agreed. I'm not in any other Discords though. What other Discords are you in, Darren? If you don't mind me asking.
Not at all. I'm in a Columbo one. I'm in a Sudoku one.
How does one even find a Columbo Discord?
I don't know. I think that one I found on Reddit. But you could find they're there's just a Discord. There's like 9,000 Discords for any topic. Mm-hmm. I really went into the Columbo one to get an emoji to use somewhere else because I have the the thing where you can use the emojis from one Discord on any Discord, which is like a perk.
Do you pay, is that a premium thing?
I think it comes with because I have the YouTube premium, which knocks ads out and other little perks, like I can play a video on my phone without the screen being on and all that. So I think it includes that Discord subscription too.
Oh, does it?
Something.
I didn't even know that.
Or it might be one tier of the YouTube, like you have to pay a little extra and you get that too or something.
No, I have to look into that. I also have been sucked into the YouTube premium vortex and I'm not going back.
No, it's money well spent. That's like I use YouTube so much.
Yeah, and you realize that the majority, now that I don't have ads on my YouTube, I don't get any market. Like I realized most of the marketing that was hitting me was from YouTube because now like movies will come out and I'm like, wait, what? Like I have no ads in my peripheral now. I have no cable, so all of my streaming services, I have the ad-free tier. It's a wonderful way to live.
Must be nice.
Well, I have to say that I had the ads never got to me on YouTube before. Like before I had premium even. The main perk is that I can like put something on, put it in my pocket, and just listen to it without having it open.
Yeah, which what a scam! What a scam that they're withholding that feature that you just have to pay for it.
It's so. I mean, it's a different world of YouTube viewing.
Well, listening, really.
Yeah,
right?
it's just a podcast.
Yeah, you're basically using it as a podcast app.
Sure.
Yeah, no, I for me, I just noticed the interstitials started going from one ad to like 3 or 4, and it just started getting really. And I'm like, no, I'm not.
I have 2 phones because it worked out that the deal that I got, I have pay for my mother's phone, I pay for my phone, and to get a third line, was cheaper. I got a free phone out of it, like by adding a third line, which was doing nothing. And I said, you know what, man, let me use this third line. It's just sitting there doing nothing. So it became my phone number that I give to people that might be insane, or that way, if they turn out to be psychopaths, I can just change the number. I don't want to change my real number. So I just use that as a
a burner phone, as Dusty Rhodes Muffler says.
Well, it's not really a burner phone because it comes in handy to have a consistent number, but like sometimes my other phone won't be charged or something. For some reason I can't use that phone. I watch YouTube on this second phone and it's a disaster. Like all the ads suddenly come on and fucking everything's shitty about it that I don't have premium on it because I'm too lazy to just, I don't know if you can even have a second phone with the service. Maybe you can, but I haven't done it because I know this doesn't happen too often. And it's a nightmare. Like Rob said, there's like fucking 3 or 4 ads between and it's every fucking like 5 minutes you watch.
Yeah. And I think the issue really is that because of that, it makes it impossible to scan through a long video, like a 2-hour video, because you scan past an ad break, it'll immediately force the ad break. You watch the ads, but then you get to the video and you realize, oh, this isn't where I want to go. I need to scan more. Then you scan past another ad break and you're forced to watch another ad break when you haven't even watched any video.
Yeah. And there's also another problem, which is most video uploaders do not take into account where the ads go. And the ad will pop up in the middle of someone's sentence, which is really fucking annoying.
Well, when you upload the videos, there's a setting where you can automate where the ad breaks are, which most people do, or you could actually sit there and properly position it, which
the pros, they time it out.
Yes, correct.
Mm-hmm. It's a little behind the curtain for you non-YouTubers out there.
How much are you paying for your subscription? Shifty Shortcake is complaining because his is $20 a month.
I think in the US it's like 13. So it's
in the low
reasonable.
Wow.
The low 10s.
But it's still high. I feel like it should be like $5 a month,
like your voice just went up high.
Yesterday's prices are not today's prices. I keep hearing this Fat Joe meme. Let me load it. I keep wanting to play it.
That was a swerving conversation.
Yeah, where are we going?
Holy shit.
Well, and this actually brings up something we wanted to talk about on the show, which was that Cardi B video.
Jealous Ones Still Envy.
What is that?
That's the name of his album, Fat Joe. Right?
Oh, I see.
Jealous Ones, Jose, Jealous Ones Still Envy.
There's just there's this short video clip I keep seeing on YouTube when people talk about like, oh, things are so expensive now, and it's rap mogul Fat Joe from like an Instagram live or something, and I don't know the context, but here's this clip.
Is he really still a rap mogul?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yesterday's price is not today's price. Yesterday's price is not today's price.
It don't fucking match.
He's certified.
Yeah, it's basically in that.
Yeah.
Yesterday's.
Oh, sorry. We don't
you lucky you're still breathing.
Yes.
I want to see if I can find the context of this.
Let me express myself.
Oh wait, there's an even longer version of the clip.
Right, here
don't eat anything. Fuck you. Fucking shit.
The price of Peter knee has gone up.
Here's a Fat Joe fact.
Right?
Fat Joe fact. Oh, wait,
is this like Big Time Tommy?
Is this a recurring segment?
So I always say yesterday's price is not today's price.
Oh, he's explaining it now.
And that's because you're worth more.
Noted economist Fat Joe.
That's why yesterday's price is not today's price. Just believe in yourself because we believe in you. We standing
so much more subdued in this clip. I like the other one. Yesterday's price is not today's price.
You see, because capitalists be stealing the value of your labor. He pulls out a PowerPoint. See, we need to seize the means of production and shit.
Take one economics class at the Learning Annex. You think you know everything.
Yo, listen, if you got to pay, if your landlord needs your If your landlord needs your rent to pay his mortgage, then you're not paying your landlord rent. He's paying your rent. What? I messed it up.
Thank you.
Your landlord be tripping out here.
Shifty Shortcake wants to know what yesterday's price was for the Botox Fat Joe got.
Well, it's not today's price.
Too much because it's not looking good. We got a receipt.
Yesterday's price is not today's price. Yesterday's price is not today's price.
I don't know what this ad is, but I'm into it.
I mean, all right, let's move on because.
Let me load this. So this kind of plays into this Cardi B video that she's got. She went viral. I'm assuming this is the video you guys are talking about, right? With where she's talking about the price of things.
Yes, yesterday's price is not today's price.
I'm telling you, this will be in your head forever. like when you start singing, like, oh shit, how did this get so expensive? You're just gonna hear Fat Joe like a little devil on your shoulder, like, yesterday's price is not today's price.
With the little Hot 97 air horn going off in the back. And what was that little interstitial, like, it was like a fucking Tarzan yell in there. Yesterday's price. With his eye twitching from Botox. He's like turning into Jim Ross.
He doesn't even know what the price is. He can't see it.
He's the Latino Jim Ross.
Yesterday's price is not today's price. Yesterday's price is not today's price.
They done killed him, King. He's broken in half. That God is my witness and shit. Yesterday's
like
mankind
Conan, right?
is not today's mankind. He just fell off a cage. God damn it, it was Vince McMahon all along under that hood.
Should we talk about that? Vince McMahon, he's in the news.
Oh yeah. Well,
We'll get to it. I have this Cardi B clip queued up.
Oh, that's a weird freeze frame. She looks great though.
Here's Cardi.
Let me tell you something. When I be complaining about food prices and y'all motherfuckers be like, ain't you rich? Why you complaining about lettuce? Why you complaining about this? That just goes to show me when you become successful, when you have money, you're gonna go.
I'm always blown away, by the way, completely sidetracked about how insane Cardi B's fake nails are. Like, I don't understand how she's able to pick anything up with these. Like they're. I guess she just pokes it with the nail, probably, because they're so
Can I ask
long.
what might be an impolite question?
Go ahead.
In the lower left-hand corner, is that her nipple blasting through 2 layers of clothing? I see an outline that looks like it could be an areola.
I would love it to be,
Go
but
broke
I
soon
think
because y'all not budgeting.
No, it's just shadows.
Okay.
I get a summary of the money that's being spent in my whole.
Yeah, clearly lighting is also too expensive.
So when I'm starting to see that like groceries is like tripling up, it's like, hey, yo, what the fuck is going on? I want to see for myself what the fuck shit is being spent on. And like when I go to the fucking supermarket, like I went to a supermarket, I'm seeing that everything tripled up. That like lettuce was like $2 a couple of months ago, and now it's like fucking $7. Of course, I'm gonna say something.
I'm just picturing her now, like at the supermarket with those nails, trying to get one of those plastic bags for fruit, and she keeps ripping them, and the fruit just falls to the floor every time.
Damn, now I realize why this shit's so expensive. Because that shit is hard to pick up.
She wants like the high C, but she keeps puncturing the bag, and it just leaks everywhere.
Do y'all be having problems picking up avocados in the fucking produce aisle, B?
Let's hear a little more of this.
Okay.
The fuck? Because if I think that shit is crazy, I could only imagine what middle class people or people in the hood is motherfucking thinking. So yes, I'm going to say something. The fuck? And I have a big platform, so I do want anybody that's responsible of these fucking prices to put that shit the fuck down.
Yeah,
they're gonna see my shit. They might put it down.
Shop, right?
Shut the fuck. Tell you something.
Absolutely correct.
I love leftist social commentator Cardi B. Sincerely, I think she is one of the best voices on the left. And if you think That's
No question.
I also can we say that people complaining about grocery prices is not a left or right thing? Everybody complains about that.
Well,
I don't know that this is leftist.
I think well, I mean, it's leftist because it's critiquing the right wing forces that are causing this to happen. But I think you get critiques from the right on the same thing because of who the president is. So it's like almost a false. It's twisted into a false right wing narrative that prices are too high. It's really just a human thing.
Yeah.
And it is a leftist thing that gets reappropriated by each side, whoever the president is, if they just go against that guy. And when it's their guy doing it, then it's, then the other side is opposed to it.
But is the president really the one making grocery prices high?
I
Is that
mean,
something the
it's
president controls?
It's not only the press. No, I don't think he's sitting there in the Oval Office with
Yeah.
a little lever that says, let's raise grocery prices now. But I think
But
the
he
policy
he's raising the interest rates, which has kind of like a domino
Well, is he
effect
raising it or the Fed is raising it?
at the instruction of
the
the administration. I mean, but they consciously did an inflation, like on purpose to try to stimulate the economy, and it's having the opposite effect. And all the money that they're pouring into fucking Ukraine, like $110 billion at this point. Yes, it does. Those policies do have an effect. Of course, so you got the opposite effect, which is inflation goes down when rich people have lots of money. That's what happened on the Trump. It carries its own series of shitty baggage too. So it's not like it was like a fucking utopia before. But lettuce was easier to pick up. So for Cardi B, with her press-on nails.
I guess the prices for nails haven't gone up.
Well, I think what it was is that profits were so high that these companies didn't feel the need to have to increase their prices. But now with the economy lowering, these companies are like worried about future profits, so they're kind of making up for it by really
gouging
prices really quickly, to where even I'm feeling it, and I can only imagine for someone who lives paycheck to paycheck, or even can't even make paycheck to paycheck, how much some of these price increases could affect them if every dollar counts.
It's tripling, dude. Like, we're joking about a head of lettuce, blah blah blah. I saw a head of lettuce for like $5.99 the other day. I mean, it was like $1.50.
How much should it? Yeah, you're right. It should be like $1 or whatever. Yeah, even I feel just everything, milk, eggs. Even like I know this. What'd you say?
I said through the roof. That's all.
Even I know this is ridiculous, but like junk food is so expensive. Like a bag of potato chips, I feel like a large bag of potatoes used to be like.
You feel like a large bag of potato chips?
I feel like a large bag.
Gonna wait till the show's over. It's very crunchy.
I feel like a large bag of potato chips, and that when you open me, I'm mostly air.
This is true.
It used to be $3. Now it's like $6. I mean, that's a big difference. That's 100% price increase.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. That's a lot.
Yeah, that's crazy. I mean, like the Utz ones are like $2 now too, and those were like 50 cents.
The Utz like single serve, but I'm saying like the big bag. It's like $6. Yeah, it's like $6 now. It's crazy.
Can I just say there's a couple of suggestions in the chat for what RIP should stand for this week, and they're good, but I already had it, and it's reinstate inexpensive produce. So they came close in the chat, but not quite.
How about this
Dusty
one?
Rhodes Mufflers suggested rest in prices. Bladesy, somebody new. Welcome, Bladesy. Really impressive profits.
Yeah, and also Shifty Shortcake WAP remix, whack ass prices.
Yeah, that was.
That's a good one too. Yeah.
Yesterday's whack ass prices is not today's whack
today's prices.
King. Oh my God! I've never seen such Botox.
Yesterday's price is not today's price.
His Botox-induced lazy eyes.
Yesterday's price is not today's
I love the pregnant
price.
Pauses.
I encourage everybody, by the way, if you are listening, we have a dedicated audio-only audience on this show. If you're not seeing the video of this, go seek it out. Just seek it. You could probably Google it just by Googling what he's saying and Fat Joe.
You know who he looks like? Darren, you might get this one. Edward G. Robinson. Do you see a slight resemblance?
Yes. Yeah. Is that the she?
Yeah.
Hey, Kappa, come here and get me, Kappa. That guy, yes, he does with the because he had the droopy mouth.
Yes,
That's
yes.
what Fat Joe has now, droopy mouth. I wonder
It
if that
used to be
affects.
droopy everything.
Wait, okay. Why don't they put? That would they need something to. I guess it matches the rest of his body now.
His cutout of his facial hair almost looks photoshopped. It's so
Yeah.
like
Yeah,
the
but
lines are
I
so
feel like it's
pristine.
been like that forever, though.
It looks like a polygon in a video game, like a bad polygon from 2005 on a PS2.
It looks like a car ashtray. Like I could just pull it out and ash a little cigarette in there, and then close his mouth up again.
like those glitch games from like the first PlayStation when it was like the glitchy Rocky game, and it's just fucking polygons dancing all over the screen. That's what his fucking facial hair.
Oh
looks like.
wow,
dude!
Oh, he's happy there. He looks like
you
a
know-
baby Fat Joe.
I guess what it is that he dyes his facial hair as well. So he's got the
Oh.
Hulk Hogan beard, NWO Hulk Hogan beard,
Yeah.
and it's so properly manicured. I guess they manicure it and then they dye it, right? Like that's right, because you could see on the edges some.
Well, it'd be a waste of dye to put it in first and then trim it.
True,
Right?
true.
I wonder how they get it so that the dye doesn't stain the skin. You know, like how it only stays on the hair.
Well, maybe it's
That's
spray on
talent.
beard. Is it possible it's spray on beard?
It could be.
Like they use a stencil.
Yesterday's spray on is not today's spray on.
Hey yo.
Does he have hair plugs on his face? Is that possible?
Imagine.
That's such a long-winded way of just saying like prices are going up.
Yeah.
No
Well, he
shit.
was-
like it only goes in
he
one
was
direction.
saying it. He was saying it in that other video. He was saying your worth today is not what it was yesterday. He's
It's the
saying
same
it's also
thing.
could also
What's
be about you.
Okay. Thank you. The wisdom of Fat Joe. Everyone. Yesterday price. I can't stop saying it.
I'm telling you, it's gonna be in your head. Oh, someone in this is pointing out that like it's almost like that weird Eminem beard.
Yeah, but I
The
can
Fat Joe
see.
beard.
That doesn't look good. The Eminem beard, but in his defense, I can see individual hair strands. Like it looked like natural beard. It's not a good idea, but it doesn't look synthetic. Like Fat Joe looks like they like you remember Wooly Willy, those fucking magnetic beard guys. That's what he looks like. That's what he looks like. That looks like an obituary picture. What the Fat Joe 2020? I thought he died. Yesterday's Fat Joe is today's Fat Joe corpse.
Oh no.
Imagine that coffin. Jesus Christ.
Yesterday's coffin is not today's coffin.
We have many large-sized coffins on the kiss.com coffin website. Check out our coffin merch store, Fat Joe, if you're interested.
There is a Dipset coffin. Now, if Fat Joe dies this week, then that's the ultimate livecast curse of all time. Because that's like crossing genre lines, even.
Yeah. And meanwhile, Gene Simmons.
Dusty Rhodes Muffler. Puerto Rican Gorilla Monsoon.
Hey, yo, give me a break, brain.
Is Fat Joe Puerto Rican?
Yes. Very much. All the songs are about being Puerto Rican.
I didn't pay attention to the lyrics. It's all
fucking-
about the groove, man.
Beans and rice and shit.
That's not strictly Puerto Rican.
I know.
You
but
didn't.
I mean, he's
You never heard the Fat Joe album Pollo Guisan?
if you make pollo guisado, carne guisado.
If you make pollo guisado, carne guisado, anything guisado, it gotta go with white rice.
Don't eat it.
Is that Remy Ma in the background?
You make
Star.
Latinos then.
That's my favorite line from that whole thing. He's saying, I'm not going to eat your food. And she's like, buy chinos then. Chinos, if you're not from New York, is the way that Latinos in New York refer to the Chinese restaurant. Chinos. Buy chinos then.
I'm sure
I
it's
didn't
a
know that.
great alternative.
Better, according to him, it's better than her food.
Oh, man.
Remember when we watched that guy's other clips? I think it was on the Patreon.
Yeah.
And none of them were that great. It's like he kind of, there were a few, there were a couple. but like this one
Yeah.
was the
He's a one-hit wonder of
the
viral
Clarion.
videos.
Yeah,
we
he
had
just kind of he fell into a viral clip, and then the rest of them is him trying to be funny. And
It's
they're
trying to
not funny.
recapture that initial spark.
But we had a ton of fun with that one clip, though. If you go watch that episode, I mean,
That's great.
We were rolling.
Just gets me hungry. Just
Yeah.
want rice and beans and pork.
Well, Sid, buy chinos then.
I might have to after we're finished here.
Buy
Get my
chinos
order.
then.
Yesterday's price for chinos is not today's price.
They typically don't have beans though,
Well,
unless you get like one of those like Chinese-run Mexican places.
That's what I mean. They're all doing that now. There's scarcely any strictly only Chinese restaurants around here anymore. They
It's a lot of
almost
combo.
all offer a Chinese Mex combination menu.
It's
I don't
not
know.
terrible. Just stay away from like the guacamole because that is the most like store-bought, prepackaged, weird tasting guacamole you'll ever get. But everything
I
else
think
is like
it's-
fine.
It's in a way you have to. It's the same as ordering Taco Bell.
Mm-hmm.
It's like it's its own kind of genre. It's its own subgenre. This
But
is
they
Mexican.
right. Sorry, Rob.
Yeah, it's not Mexican food. It's like Mexican inspired,
But
with
I will-
Chinese ingredients.
I will say though, I feel that the Chinese Mexican places attempt to produce Mexican food. They don't. It's not authentic. But I feel like Taco Bell is just they
It's
just
its own
invented
separate-
some
yeah.
shit. Is this a New York thing? I don't. Maybe it is. Maybe it's all around the country. I don't know. But I will say this. Throw this out there for our non-New York audience. In New York, all the a great number of the Mexican fast food places are run by Chinese people, and the Mexican people are running the pizzerias.
Yeah.
Is
You
that
get
a
a
New
lot of-
York? Is that a New York thing, or is that
I think
everywhere?
it's a South Brooklyn thing, or even because all the Mexican places around me here are authentic Mexican spots.
You live in
And they're
like
kinda
one of the more upscale parts of Brooklyn.
Yeah. I live
Isolated
in a far more, but even in Williamsburg, I feel most of the Mexican spots were
In my
authentic.
neighborhood, I think it's also most of the Mexican places are actual, like authentic. Like you go in there and it's actual Latino.
Yeah, I
people.
haven't really had Chinese Mexican in quite a while. Like since me and Sid lived together,
Yeah.
that was our only option, was just this one Chinese Mexican spot.
But the
Sounds very
pizzerias
That's hers.
all around New York City in all 5 boroughs have a Mexican staffs now.
That is
Yeah,
true,
that
but I
is-
think
yes.
there are Mexican staff trained by Italians.
Oh,
you
sure,
know,
the
like-
places are owned by
Yeah.
Italians, but they just don't feel like working in the shop anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, I find that even in like any sort of like there was this pierogi place that it was just being run by Mexicans, but I mean it's authentic Polish pierogies.
Yeah, I had a
You know, it's just-
gyro. They just teach the Mexican guy how to do the pierogies, I guess.
It's really just it's not it doesn't matter your ethnicity. It's just who is willing, like what is the accessible cheap labor. And in New York City, it just unfortunately happens to be Mexican people or people of Latino descent.
Central American people are the backbone of the entire restaurant industry here.
And I
Yeah.
tell
The
you,
highest of the high-end restaurants to your generic takeout places. You go into the kitchen and it's almost exclusively those folks. They work really fucking hard.
and now we've been. This will show you how long we've been doing this show. Is that I think I've spoken about this on the air. That in New York City, the Mexican American population is largely non-English speaking immigrants. Like as opposed to when you go to Los Angeles, there's like Chicanos and like they're like integrated into society. They speak perfect English. Some of them don't speak Spanish very well. There's a whole Mexican American community there that's interchangeable with native, like 5th generation Americans and all that. In New York, it was never like that. And I remember making that distinction. Like you'd always see like indigenous Mexicans who just moved here. And now this is like 14 years later, we've been doing this show. Now their kids are like grown up and there is much more of a Chicano, like a community in New York City. It's very weird. I almost never saw a Mexican person speaking like fluent English in New York City. It's not an exaggeration until like 2 or 3 years ago. And now there's all these teenagers and 20-year-olds that speak perfect English. And it's like, it's just a new phenomenon in New York City, I think.
I don't know. I grew up like I think in my generation I had it. Just
A few
it's
here
just
and there, but
It's just the first generation American kids of Mexican immigrants, kind
Right.
of basically.
It just didn't happen here as early as it did over there because we're nowhere near as close to Mexico as they are.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and also I think a lot of it was also, I feel like there was a lot of Puerto Rican immigrants here in New York too.
Oh, that's good for 100 years. So far.
Yeah.
There's Puerto Rico. I mean, New York is like Puerto Rico North. I mean, like so much of the culture of Puerto Rico is like woven into the culture of New York that they're indistinguishable, basically.
Yeah, it really felt very familiar being in Puerto Rico when I went to San Juan. When you're in the more modern kind of metropolitan areas as opposed to like the classical stuff, it feels very familiar, like very Bronx vibes.
I was supposed to go to Puerto Rico. That trip got coronated. That was like April 2020. The Mets were going to play the Marlins there for us, like a real in-season series for the first time. Oh, not the first time. I guess they had done it a few times, but they were going to play a series there. And I said, I'm going to take my mother. And then coronavirus happened and they never rescheduled it.
Maybe this year, right?
No.
Well, the schedule's already out this year.
Been out since August, but it could happen eventually. But I hope not this year because I'd have to get on a plane.
I was gonna say,
no.
if it were this year, would you have gone?
Did you take a boat? Did you take like a cruise?
I mean, I have other reasons why. I have a very, very busy slate. Like I'm back in school and stuff. So probably not going to be any major trips this year. Maybe something like, a day trip somewhere.
Somewhere within driving distance or train distance.
Well, you're not going to fly somewhere for a day trip.
Well, I did that once. We went down to South Carolina for one day.
Oh, wow.
On a Saturday. It was fun. I mean, did a lot of whatever did South Carolina stuff that we could find. I actually went to a slave plantation.
Of course.
A historical. No, but I mean, it was like interesting. That doesn't mean you're pro-slavery to walk around. But there were a contingent of people who clearly were not too bothered by the history of the slave
South
plantation.
Carolina, after all.
Yeah. It was good for people watching. Let's put it that way. But it was like tourists to South Carolina, but from other far-flung parts of the South, who wanted to. Whoa, we're in South Carolina. Cool. Awesome. Let's go see how it used to be the good old days.
Exactly.
Well, speaking of the good old days, I want to play this quick clip of Douglas Levison.
All right.
Show. He's recently popped up on another podcast, the Adam Friedland Show.
Who?
Adam Friedland Show is a reworking of a very popular, controversial podcast called Come Town. Now known as the Adam Friedland Show. And so it's kind of like this very ironic take on a podcast. And I guess he's doing video now, and he invited Douglas Levison on a show, and they did like a full-length interview, and he posted some clips. I figured we'd watch some of these clips.
Sure.
Because we love Douglas Levison. Douglas Levison hit viral fame almost a decade ago now, maybe longer than a decade ago.
More. I feel it was in the first 1 or 2 years of this podcast, I would guess.
Where he is just viciously hazing and heckling the street player about how terrible he is. A trumpet player, about what an awful musician he is.
And let's be fair, he was awful. He was awful at the trumpet. Let's give Doug some props.
But Douglas Levison just looks like the oddest little New Yorker. And we became obsessed with him ever since. And we obviously were not the only ones. He's kind of like a D-level celebrity here in New York, and a lot of people.
D for Douglas?
D for Douglas, for sure. And Adam Friedland, clearly a fan. And so let's play a clip of him interviewing Douglas Levison.
Sucker!
TM. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It's twice a day, every day.
Oh, my God.
Plus Chopra's techniques every day. And that's
Who's
50
Chopra?
years. Dr. Chopra.
Deepak.
Chopra.
Yeah. This is 50 years from January 21st for me.
You do it every morning?
Every day.
I swear, he looks like he's 3
David
feet
Lynch
tall.
is really into
Yeah.
it.
Well,
Have you been to his institute in Iowa?
Yes. Well, that's
This guy
You were there in Iowa.
looks like if Eugene Merman and Beck had a son. So did they coordinate their outfits? They're both dressed very similarly.
Yeah, probably.
in my group, I was the first
Sid, I think you
legitimate
would like
person
this
to go
guy's
up,
humor. It's very funny.
Okay.
Yeah.
which is about 2 feet up and about 2 feet forward. That's the advanced, the cities program. And I can do
He's
that.
not doing anything
on
funny.
can-
He's just interviewing
Wait,
Douglas.
wait,
but-
wait. Wait, you can levitate.
Oh, sorry.
from-
Well, it's called flying.
So hold on. He's saying he can levitate here, Douglas. Let's go back.
Excuse
a
me?
little bit. Let's go back a little bit.
Where I was.
You
I
were
went to
there
the
in Iowa.
university. In my group, I was the first legitimate person to go up, which is about 2 feet up and about 2 feet forward. That's the advanced, the cities program. And I can do that.
Wait,
On
you can-
foam.
Wait. You can levitate from.
Well, it's called flying.
You can fly.
Yeah. Not
meditating?
a lot, not like a bird, but enough that your body.
You
and
got
mind-
off the ground.
Yes.
That's unbelievable.
About 2 feet up. Well, when we did the world tour of this,
Do it right
Yeah.
now.
they
Yeah.
did 100 countries and they
Mhm.
did 1,000 cities.
A
And you
100
did it
countries.
for people around the world.
They did. I wasn't part of that, but
Mhm.
but I'm one of the people who learned.
Yeah.
Okay. And when we were at the UN, we brought in delegates. from
100
58
countries
United
nowadays cost
Nations.
like $7.99. It's
These
really crazy.
grand halls of the United Nations. We took out 3 or 4 of the best flyers. We had them demonstrate.
So there are more people that could do
So
this.
Oh,
Douglas
yeah.
They did it
Levison's
at the
head
UN?
is so low on his body and his torso is so small. Do you think he could suck his own dick?
It depends how big his dick is, and I
Yeah, I was gonna say like
I
But
can't
like, look
envision
at
him
him. It
having a-
looks like it's like 3 inches separating his mouth and his crotch. It's not
I-
that far of a distance.
I think he has a little lead pencil like cat penis.
Imagine if his dick is like 16 inches long and just hangs to the floor. And that's what gives him all his confidence. Like he wasn't levitating, he just had a boner that lifted him off the ground.
If he has a big dick, it's like long, schlubby, and deformed, just like him. It wouldn't even be attractive to like someone who likes penises. If you just like, it'd be like, yeah, like like just not aesthetically pleasing. It's large and
It's been through a lot. It's a long, hard life in New York City for that
Yeah.
penis.
he would complain about it. By the way, can we just say before we restart the video, this man has clearly lost his mind. I mean, like,
I would think so.
he seemed earlier like he had, although he was an eccentric and a weirdo, he had some tether to reality. Like everything he's saying in that famous viral clip is valid. It's just being presented in the most obnoxious way. But he's clearly rational and sane. And now he's talking about levitation. What's going on with him?
We had them demonstrate.
So there are more people that could do this.
Oh yeah.
They
No,
did it
there's
at
millions.
the UN.
Yeah.
No
we
way.
had a
That's
demonstration at
Doug,
the United
this
Nations.
This is bupkis.
No.
No, you
Look
can't.
on the UN journal.
You
for the
can't
date.
fly.
Yes, you can.
Wait, you
you
believe in
can't, like,
ghosts?
no, you
you
can't.
believe
Do
in
it.
spirits
Yeah.
Do it.
and ghosts?
I'll tell you a great story about that.
He'll
Doug,
tell a
We
great
went up
story.
to Plymouth.
This is
like
a little bit
No,
too
listen.
boogie woogie for me.
No. Listen. We went up to Salem.
Massachusetts?
We were up in Salem.
For me, I'm like really blown away by how far down his head, like just his body shape. It's very odd to me.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's very, very odd. Like
His head is 7/8 of his body.
yeah, and like he's just hunched over. He's like permanently hunched to where
He's his own
like-
Quado. It's so strange.
And they have
50
Samantha
Shortcake said his
Fitzgerald
memory is
down
going, so he
square.
thought his name was Douglas Levitation. If anyone, like we've mentioned Joe Franklin on this show
Yes.
before. I feel like most people don't know who he is, but if you ever Googled it because of us, you would see that this interview is what it was like watching Joe Franklin
Yeah.
in the 80s. It's just a rational, good interviewer, normal guy, funny guy, interviewing a complete whack job. That's what the Joe Franklin show. Very if you took a guy steeped in the entertainment industry who's savvy, knows how to do an interview, knows everything about entertainment and history, and just for no reason is talking to complete weirdos. That was the Joe Franklin show.
Dusty Rose Muffler says Doug Levison looks like a Jewish Paul Bearer.
Yeah, I think I remember saying that before too. Yeah, he is Paul Bearer if he was Jewish.
Even the
Excellent
outfit.
observation. Oh
The skin
yeah.
tone. He's like Paul Bearer without the need for the makeup.
Yeah. Save money for Vince McMahon to bribe to extort women into sex.
They would bear Jackie Gleason in front of the Port Authority.
Good, very funny guy.
And they have Mary out in Minneapolis tossing the hat. They have Samantha in the square. So he and I wanted to do some meditating before we're going to head back into Boston. Okay. We drove in to.
Can we go back for a second, please? Because he just turned into Mike Francesa for a split second. Did you catch it?
Oh, guy.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a New York thing.
They have Samantha in the square. So he and I wanted to do some meditating before we're going to head back into Boston. Okay.
That's exactly the same delivery.
Graveyard.
Mhm.
And we started meditating. And I swear,
Okay.
they said, get out. They told me and my best
They
friend.
saw you floating?
No. We were sitting doing program. TM.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
They said, get out. You're disturbing our rest.
TM is transcendental meditation, by the way.
Thank you, Rob.
So
We looked
someone
at-
else
said
kicked
this
him out
to
of
you.
a public
We
space?
looked at each other and we said, that's it. We're out of here.
That's scary.
No. it
But
was
they're not. You
fine.
shouldn't be scared of
That
them.
was their place of rest.
Yeah.
And we were going in there by diving into this dimension. We were disturbing them. And they said, like, out.
Yeah. Simple
So-
enough.
So we left. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's it. I mean, there are other dimensions.
Sure.
And depending on the sincerity and clarity of the person, there are people who are sensitives. There are people who are mediums, and some people really do have the ability.
And there are larges like
to
Robert
get
Passabini.
hold of somebody
Yeah.
on the other side.
I'm a 2XL baby.
Robert,
Let's see. There's one more.
whatever his name is.
Let's get up. You know, obviously, he shot to notoriety after that viral video came out, and I think a lot of New Yorkers.
Okay, wait, hold on.
resonated with a lot.
I'm just noticing now the caption for this says Douglas Levison.
Yeah, a lot of people make that mistake.
But this guy had him on the fucking show. You'd think he'd have the exact name right. Are we the wrong ones or is he wrong?
That's Levison for sure.
That's what I thought.
It's a much more common name to say.
Yeah.
Levison, so I think I've said that when we were first getting to know the Douglas Levison oeuvre. I feel like I said Levinson a few
I
times.
think all of us did.
Yeah. It took a while to adjust.
It's Levison. It's Levison.
Yeah, I
It's
feel like if
Levison.
we had him on the show, we would have from that point on for sure known.
But we're very attention to detail oriented here.
Yeah, I guess this guy maybe
A
not
lot
so
of
much.
New Yorkers.
You know, artist. An artist respects the silence. It serves as the foundation of creativity.
That's such a beautiful.
Obviously, you don't have the talent. You don't
Nugget
have
of
enough
wisdom.
respect for yourself or other people, or what it is to express yourself.
He looks like he's
The
aged
music's
30 years.
really in the
some
form of
this video.
creativity.
He really does.
And I'm an
Well-
NYU film school graduate. Sucker,
You want to
sucker.
walk us through the day?
The response was very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
The whole thing took place on what was that year.
I'm
'cause we
still
wanted
like,
to do the real
it does
holiday.
not. He looks like a puppet, like sitting in this chair. They did that wide shot, like his leg. I don't understand how his torso attaches to his legs. You know,
I just love his demeanor in this interview too. Like he not just how he sits and looks, but like how he's talking.
He's
He's
so
like-
stoned.
But also he's
Yeah,
like
he's so
fucking.
calm.
He's like Gore Vidal talking to Dick Cavett, like as if he'd done
Yes.
something important or written some very influential book. You were in a fucking viral video yelling like a dummy.
But he,
Shifty
clearly his whole life he's thought he was Gore Vidal talking to Dick Cavett, and it's just finally
Yeah.
other people are seeing it.
Yes.
Shifty Shortcake says, "Yesterday's Mike Francesa is today's Douglas Levison."
Who are you, kid? Who are you?
Holidays. It was the Monday holiday of the indigenous people Columbus.
Mm-hmm.
So it was October 14th. That happened to be Magnificent Day.
Yeah.
Okay. So we're down
Okay.
at Wagner Park, south of where I live in Battery Park City.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot of discussion about redoing Wagner Park. And this guy is blowing this.
Now we know
Just,
where we live.
you don't hear him, right? But it was just absolutely awful. And my attitude about it was that I went up to him and I said, like, can this?
Mm-hmm.
Now, some people thought that it had something to do with it being in front of the Jewish Museum.
Mm-hmm.
It did not, but that just happened to
It
be
had
where this
nothing
took
to do with
place.
that.
It's a lovely museum, and Uncle Bob Morgenthau was part of that. But
Uh-huh.
no, it was just the level of breaking the silence down there on a very special day.
On Columbus
Moreover,
Day.
For those of us who have lived through the 9/11,
Mhm.
okay, my friend and I were down there a couple
The
of years
9/11.
plus at the time that happened, so we have a real sense an intellectual and feeling type sense as to the experience that we lived through. And somebody coming around making that kind of racket is just not going to happen.
So you playing trumpet on Columbus Day is disrespectful to 9/11
To the victims of
survivors.
9/11. Yeah.
It's only 1 month away, Sid.
This is probably on 10/11.
Last month's 9/11 is today's Columbus Day.
And somebody coming around making that kind of racket is just not going to happen.
So you think that space should be about reflecting on the attacks of
Right.
September 11th?
Silence. Yeah. Well, I
Was
mean,
he even
as the
at
years have
the
gone
spot
by
at all, or anywhere
you know,
near?
Well, he
it?
said something
he's
about
saying
him
it
and
was.
his friends were.
was
I don't
saying
really understand what he's claiming he was doing there.
Well,
He
was
lives there.
scared.
He was saying it's in Battery Park City, so it's around Ground Zero.
He had his valise or whatever that bag was that he was carrying around. So it probably came from whatever shitty job he has.
Shifty Shortcake says, breaking news, Columbus was behind 9/11.
I walked Cameron up on stage in 2004. Who are you? Who are you?
You know, I mean, I heard the first one, and it was I've never heard a sound like that ever.
Yeah.
Okay. It
Not
was
even the
just
trumpet?
unearthly and beyond. He saw the second one. He went to go park. We
Your
were
friend.
following the rules.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he saw the second one fly over South End Avenue. It was
It's
crazy.
a nightmare.
When I went to meet him at 10:30, the one went down. So by the time I got to him, I had the Ringo Starr silver streak in my Beatle haircut.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So we waited till the parking was up and go back to the house. They were taking everybody to Jersey. We stayed. And the trucks by that night were a block long. And Wednesday, I got out, checked everything out, got up into the village, made my way back. Nobody was getting in or out. I did. And we left on Thursday.
How'd you get it on foot?
I just hoofed it. I went
Yeah.
up the Esplanade by the water and then made my way over into the village.
Yeah.
And dropped off the mail and talked to people. There were no planes.
Could you imagine
air was
you're like in
magnificent, the
Brooklyn
weather
Yeah.
was magnificent.
looking at the wreckage of 9/11 and you see this person emerge from the cloud of soot? You must think that there was like an alien invasion. And it wasn't a terrorist attack. It was like a spaceship landed in Manhattan. Run for your fucking life.
Douglas Levison is like if you chemically assembled everything it means to be a New Yorker and then like exposed it to toxic waste. That's Douglas Levison.
Yeah, if you like incubated it in the East River. And then it just emerged.
Yes, he's
I've
like
never
he's like a kaiju of New Yorkers.
I've never wanted to see someone naked more and for a less and it be not sexual at all. But I'm so curious what this man looks like naked.
Morbid curiosity.
Seriously.
I think there is an 85% chance you would not see his pecker at all. At least 85%.
He could be he's like a total Ken doll, you know? Just no.
Yeah. No, I mean it's there. Like his gonads exist, but they're just covered.
His gonads
exist. That's the show title. His gonads exist, but they're just retracted. They're just his body is so deformed that you just they wouldn't penetrate outside his body.
Listen, I had closed the windows the night before. I went and got Bob Dylan's album that came out at midnight on September 11th.
I love Dylan.
I still have the receipt that's dated midnight.
Oh, 9/11.
Yeah.
So do you think that was a
How did
coincidence?
he get on to 9/11?
Because of the trumpeter. The trumpeter was offending 9/11, remember?
Oh, 9/11.
Yeah.
So now this explains why he talked about walking Bob Dylan to the stage. He was so offended because he bought a Bob Dylan tape on 9/11.
Right.
That he ended up
Do you think that was a coincidence?
I think that this is like the most extreme version of it, but I feel like there is something like this in like a lot of New Yorkers. I see this all the time, a very provincial attitude about 9/11, like how I lived here when this happened. Like, how dare you, like you're not paying sufficient reverence to 9/11. I think he's just doing something that a lot of people do. That's frankly like a little bit annoying, honestly. Like I lived
I agree. And I feel like people that don't live in New York do this, and that's even more annoying to me, you know? It's less annoying than when it's someone who's not from New York. I will say that.
Yeah, but I mean, I get your point, and I did live here. And if someone does legitimately do something offensive, it does bother me. But like guys just playing a trumpet, I feel like it's whipped out at the most inappropriate, like unnecessary times. Sometimes.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
There's times when September 11th comes, like the day itself, like you can't do anything. It's like you're at a funeral. Like if you do something fun on 9/11, sometimes, especially in the early year, like not so much now as much anymore, but still sometimes.
Now
like
it's
people,
January instead.
Yeah, exactly. It's exactly the same phenomena. But at least people like fucking died on like 3,000 people.
Yeah.
One dummy that was rioting died on January.
Well, people died on January 6th, just not at the Capitol riot, just of COVID.
Yeah, of COVID, drug abuse, and like one idiot got herself shot by a cop, and that's pretty much it.
But yeah, I it's weird because I also feel like this year was the first year that I really saw hardcore, full on meme jokes about 9/11. Like you know, it's no longer too soon. It's been 22 years is the cutoff of where it's no longer too soon to make jokes.
It was always like, I mean, maybe the first year. After that, the 9/11 jokes are mostly kind of funny. Come on.
Yeah, I mean, hey, I was making 9/11 jokes on 9/11, so
It's
that's how I deal. That's how I deal with tragedy. Okay.
I remember Rob and I have a like sort of a mutual, definitely not a friend, but an acquaintance who's like a hardcore MAGA. He was MAGA before there was a MAGA slogan. You know, he used to play softball. He was friends of ours, and I remember when MySpace existed. This before Facebook. I posted a meme. It was like maybe 2 years after 9/11, 3 years, something like that. And I posted a meme of someone photoshopped a giant Hulk Hogan in red and yellow,
yes,
giving the big boot to the World Trade Center, and the World Trade Center exploding. And honestly, it was like a 6-panel cartoon, you know.
When you said meme started right after 9/11, this was the first thing I thought of.
Yeah. That was it. That's the exact meme that I posted. And this guy this guy lost it. Like, you are disrespecting the United States. How dare you?
Well, really, it's not you. It's Hulk Hogan.
Yes,
he's the one fucking doing the damage.
I'm posting this to show what an asshole Hulk Hogan is. Like, everyone just thought he lied about being in Metallica. No, he blew up the World Trade Center.
This isn't Darren. This is Hulk Hogan, right?
But
here.
like,
This
come
is Hulk
on,
Hogan.
and let's be real. And I'm dropping any pretense of humor here. Like, let's be honest, 100% honest. I lived through 9/11. It sucked. It was scary. It was terrifying. This is so clearly a fucking joke. And if you look at this and you don't think this is fucking hilarious, I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah.
This is so funny.
Here's how the only people who I feel can say this is not funny are people who lost family, who like seeing images of the Twin Towers exploding is triggering to them. Totally understand how it's not funny.
But that's the old comedy debate, is that like everything's fucking hilarious until it happens to you.
Mm-hmm.
So when it happens to you, all right, that's your thing that bothers you, and I understand that, but you can't do comedy and like not hit something with unless you do the most bland, like Bill Cosby fucking 1980s comedy that's inoffensive to anybody, or Jim Gaffigan or whatever. Like everything's gonna offend somebody at some point. Is it funny or not? Even the more like things I don't agree with, like like Norm Macdonald sometimes, like, he's a conservative guy. Like, there's been conservative but if I disagree with it, but if the presentation is good, it's fucking funny to me.
Yeah.
Get over it.
That's your comment to the
like a lot of people picked on the wrong thing with Dave Chappelle, like when he was doing all these trans jokes, and like, I think it was in poor taste, some of it, very poor taste, but also it wasn't funny.
Yeah.
It was just him standing on a stage, saying slurs about trans people. It wasn't
jokes. That's kind of what really bothered me too.
Right. And he's clearly still funny. Like, to me, the rest of the first couple of specials, when he started doing that, the last few have just been straight up unfunny.
Yeah.
The first couple of them were funny outside of that trans stuff. He just, for some reason, thinks it's funny to just stand there and say slurs. And I just didn't I'm like, this is just fucking dumb. Like, if you found a way to package this concept in a really funny Dave Chappelle type routine, I would still disagree with it. I'd still think it was like probably harmful, but I would be like, all right, you know what though? This is fucking funny, and I have some kind of dilemma here. It was dumb. It was just fucking stupid.
Let's just watch the rest of this clip.
Sorry, we got on a side.
No, we got
Probably
off
my
on a
fault.
That's
Oh,
September
9/11.
Yeah.
So do you think that was a coincidence, or
It just happened.
the attacks weren't a response to
So
the album?
I'm on my bicycle that night of the Monday, the 10th, to go get his album at midnight on the
Right.
11th. They were having a private party for Madonna at Tower Records, so that was out. So
I walked Madonna up on stage.
Could you imagine Doug Levison riding a bicycle? I can't. Like, how is this possible?
I thought you were going to say, can you imagine Doug Levison riding Madonna?
Riding Madonna.
Yes, I think that's in the sex book actually.
Oh,
Using
that's
a gift mask.
Yeah, there's a gift box for the sex book that includes some deleted pages.
Got the album with the
How do you
receipt
even
dated
mount
right
him?
around midnight into the 11th.
No, he does the mounting.
The last thing I saw
It's like
was
a gargoyle.
1:37 on the clock.
Madonna's a big star. She wouldn't let him climb on her. She's riding that for sure.
My bicycle that night of the Monday, the 10th, to go get his album at midnight on the
Right.
11th. They were having a private party for Madonna at Tower Records, so that
Madonna.
was out. So I wound up at Union Square, got the album with the receipt dated right around midnight into the 11th. The last thing I saw was 1:37 on the clock at the ferry terminal on the way home. And I
Mhm.
closed the windows. I came home and I said, it's raining. And that's what
Mhm.
saved our house. Because when I went out the next Wednesday, after what happened on Tuesday, the next day, Wednesday, the dust
What
was
is he
up to-
talking about?
You're right.
I'm lost.
I mean, it was an amazing experience.
I need
So
Cliff's notes for
the
this.
point being that in terms of the attitude that we take, you shouldn't be making noise. You
Right.
know?
Oh my
And
God.
it was a beautiful afternoon.
Oh,
It
so
was
the
holiday.
trumpet guy was.
See, he lost me.
Oh,
I gotta
yeah.
say, pause
I
it.
had
I
notes.
feel that when without context, when I first saw the famous Douglas Levison clip, my position was he's like Mark B. He's correct, 100% correct, but his presentation is a little suspect. Because I agree. I just thought he was saying, shut the fuck up. People are just trying to get home from work. They don't need to hear your untalented bullshit. He said it in a bit of a pompous way, like I'm better than you. I'm a musician. Fuck you. But I agree with this guy's point. There's a lot of times I'm on a train. I want to hear these fucking guys playing any instruments. Shut the fuck up. He had me in the fold.
Yeah.
Now he's losing me with this 9/11 shit. Like this is attaching something.
Well,
on
maybe
this-
he's
the trumpeter was
retconning.
supposed to read this guy's mind and know like the
I think he's
connotations of-
retconning. I think he's.
Yeah,
I think
it's
he
also
really
very
was.
possible.
Yeah,
Yeah, you're
I think I think what you're saying, Darren, was the original thing, but he doesn't want to come off like a jerk, so he came up with this whole.
I think this makes it worse. He's
Yeah,
only making it
100%.
worse with this bullshit.
I think two things. Well, if he was so worried about 9/11, that would have been the first thing he said to this guy.
Yes.
Like, we're in ground zero.
Yeah.
Like, and secondly, I think he feels like he is on the William F. Buckley show here, and he needs to pump himself up and have some kind of deep, profound thing that he's saying. So he's just making this shit up.
Yeah.
Let's hear a little more of this. It's almost over.
No idea that this big, tall guy was sitting there, an iPhone on his lap,
Uh-huh.
and he was taping this. I absolutely no idea this
Yeah.
was going on. And so I just, let loose with this, from a real intellectual.
Do you think
place.
would have you gotten to that level before, or was that just a moment in time that was
This
just
this
random?
completely,
Yeah.
just something that came up. I mean, I
Uh-huh.
just felt very strongly about the circumstances, and I let it rip.
About the attacks. Yeah.
Well, not just that, but what he was doing.
He just
I mean, you're talking
stunk.
about this you're talking about this now, over 12 years later.
Right.
But the idea of what that resonates throughout our neighborhood forever,
Uh-huh.
that never changes.
Oh my God.
But there's a moment in the video I gotta ask you about. There's a very underrated moment in the video. You check your phone in the middle of the rant.
And you will never be anything. Never.
I don't remember
How
that.
dare you? How dare you? You miserable, mediocre nothing.
Yeah, he looks like
me.
he does. He looks like I mean, he looks hideous, but he looks like maybe a 35 to 40-year-old hideous man there. And now he looks 75.
Seriously.
Like, what happened? He doesn't look old in the first. He looks terrible, but he doesn't look old.
He looks more confusing than old. There's so
Yeah.
much else to wonder about that
Yeah.
age doesn't even come up in your mind when you first see him.
I think
But
what
now
happened,
it's
yeah,
like-
it's sort of like looking at Cthulhu. Like, you can't process the human mind can't interpret his visage, you know, like you can't you don't know. So maybe part of your brain goes, that's oldness, you know, but there's nothing like he doesn't have any features of an old man there. He's just like
And now he just looks like withered emo Phillips.
yeah, it's very malnourished but also fat. Like I don't know. It's just
Like a
very
vampire that went out in the daylight.
It's very unsettling to look at him. He's been blanched of any color.
You don't know.
I really don't know.
It was
why
probably one of
wasn't-
those chicks that were like, I'm watching you on YouTube right now.
Don't know.
No, maybe.
But apparently that served as a real interesting break in this whole
Yeah,
drama.
it's a people have really analyzed those 45 seconds,
Yeah, right.
like broken down by the second.
Right. And the one thing that people don't know is that right when he finished doing the taping, the kid almost ran me over with his bike.
He did.
Yeah, he just missed. And that was something else.
He
that
tried to go
people don't see.
kamikaze you with a bike.
Right.
Yeah.
That's the term for
Which
it.
would be a reminder of the Second World War,
Wow,
which
I
would
mean,
also be disrespectful.
my people came over on the Mayflower.
On the Mayflower.
Yeah.
What?
I am on that side of my
But
family.
you're Levison.
Yeah.
He got it wrong. It's
But he
Levison.
agreed with him.
Oh, maybe he misheard. Well, that's you can. I
Wow.
believe there's way more to the interview.
And you went to see this live, Rob?
Let's get
No, I should not see this. This
Why
wasn't-
not?
I would have.
We need a picture of you and Douglas Levison together. Just the tall guy, short guy, Laurel and Hardy of it would be incredible. We could put that on a t-shirt and sell it for a profit.
Okay.
Yesterday's t-shirt price is not today's t-shirt price, Rob.
So it looks like this is a whole 1 hour interview.
Well, you're not going to have Douglas Levison come by and then only talk to him for 15 minutes.
Mm-hmm. So you can get that. Just do a little search for the Adam Freeland Show, Ghost of Adam's Future. That's the episode title for that. If you want more Douglas Levison in your life. Oh, Min the Cool Dude says he's lighting up for Rob, or they're lighting up for Rob. Cheers. Cheers, Min.
I assume it's a he if there's dude in the name. No? Probably.
Why assume?
Because I like to make an ass out of you and me. It's my favorite thing to do, Rob. So do we want to talk about this Vince McMahon?
Yeah. I just want to read
Situation?
what Dusty
No.
said about Doug Levison. He's like Uncle Junior in The Sopranos when he gets dementia at the end. He's like, remember, we had Sting. We were in this thing together. It's like, the fuck you want, a boutonniere?
Oh, it's Niazi. Min the Cool Dude is Niazi.
Oh,
Holy
Niazi, welcome back.
How the hell are you doing?
Hello. Where is he from? India, right? Oh, no, Saudi Arabia, I think.
That sounds right.
I believe. Were you from Saudi Arabia, Niazi? Refresh our memory. And then you were going to college, baby? Yeah, he was doing college in Indiana. I think I remember that. Well, he'll get back to us. But one of our longtime Hall of Fame
Yes.
listeners.
Saudi, that's right.
Saudi
Yeah.
Arabia.
I think Bharat was our listener
Yes.
from India.
Yes. Bless. Who was the guy that was from Bhutan? We had a listener from Bhutan.
I don't remember. I don't know. I think that was just a one-time email we got, so I don't remember the name.
No, that guy added me on Facebook.
Oh, wow.
I started to see all these Bhutanese posts and stuff, and nice pictures of the countryside and everything. It would just be like stuff we would do, like a selfie, like, hey, I'm just out with my friends, and there'd be these rolling hills and mountains and shit.
Wow.
I was like, Jesus Christ, this country's beautiful.
If you're thinking about taking a trip there, just wait till next year, please.
I'm going to, especially Bhutan.
Imagine
mountains everywhere. It's like tempting fate. I mean, on the plus side, you could plan so far ahead, you get a good deal. Yeah, you'll just see me writing on social media. I'm going to Bhutan, guys, and flying the plane myself. See you next year. It'll be fine. I've had 3 flying lessons. In case anyone missed last week, I had a vision once when I was a teenager that I was going to die in a plane crash when I was 49, and I just turned 49 this year. So there's a running joke that I'm not going on any planes this year, which may turn out to be true.
Better safe than sorry.
Yeah, I agree. Although there could be some circumstances that do compel me to get on a plane, I would attempt to avoid it if possible. You got to laugh at me? Fuck you, Rob.
Shifty Shortcake. Breaking news: 3D was behind Bhutan's forthcoming 9/11.
Oh, that's going to be really impossible because I will be nowhere near the country due to me not getting on a plane.
Cue the Photoshop of Hulk Hogan doing a leg drop on a mountain.
And Darren, it's not that I'm making fun of you. I just think that's a silly excuse not to travel all year. That's all. And I mock you. No.
You don't suffer from OCD. You're a very rational, together, stabilized person in that aspect of your life.
You don't know where my compulsions lie. We have different compulsions, Dan.
What are they? So then you shouldn't laugh at mine if you have some. And I'm also playing it up for the show. Like I said,
Same.
I would get on a plane.
That's what we do. We play it up. We play it up, folks. So the Vince McMahon story, basically, it's very melodramatic, I would say.
Yes, it's like a soap opera, 100%.
And so last year, when we last left Vince, he was essentially forced out of the company, like very politely told to resign, and he did resign and retired. He said he retired, blah, blah, blah. But it's because all these allegations started surfacing that he paid off women, some of whom were performers on screen, and it did not look good. And allegedly there are more allegations that we as the public don't know about, that the board of directors know about. Anywho, so Vince stepped down while still maintaining the largest amount of stock in the company. He owns basically 80% of the voting stock and like 30% of actual stock, but his shares of stock have more voting power, so he basically has 80% of the voting rights for the company. So then I guess late last year, 2022, he decided that it was a mistake for him to retire and that he could have ridden out the allegations, and he was planning a comeback. And basically everyone in the company was like, we don't want you back. And he was just like, hey, I got the most voting shares, so you better bring me back, because right now the company is in the best position it possibly could be to be sold. And the reason is because they have very high television rights, and their television rights contracts come up next year in 2024. So this year they're negotiating their television rights. And a lot of industry analysts are saying some of the companies they're negotiating with, like, for example, NBC Peacock, or Comcast, who owns NBC and Peacock and Universal, they already give WWE so much money for the rights to their shows, for the rights to the stuff that airs on Peacock, that it would make more sense for them in the long run. It would be more profitable just to buy WWE outright, so they no longer have to pay these licensing fees. They'll just own the company. Then there's other companies as well that could be potential suitors, like Disney. They're always buying up these companies. They want these, you could see how it makes sense. Some other companies. And so Vince McMahon basically sent a letter like, hey, this is a very important year for WWE. You're going to be negotiating your new media rights. You're at a point where you're the ripest for a sale. And I think the best course of action is to have me back leading the ship. And I just want to point out that if I'm not leading the ship, then I will not approve any such sale or rights contract.
Okay.
And so the board of directors responded back like, hey, we don't think it's in the best interest of the shareholders for you to come back, especially because there's other allegations that still haven't been made public could damage the company. And we're totally down for you to be a part of the negotiations as long as you promise not to come back to the company. And he responded, "Oh, hell no, bitches." But much more polite and legalese, of course. And not only that, surprisingly, not only does he want to come back onto the board of directors, he wants to bring back the former presidents of the company, George Barrios and Michelle Wilson, whom he fired like 5 years ago because they disagreed with his vision for their over-the-top network. They wanted to keep the WWE network its own thing, and he felt that they were missing out on money by just licensing the network to somebody else. And ultimately, I have to say, he was right, because they got way more money from Peacock to license their content than they were making selling it directly to their audience. And on top of that, they have a much larger audience for all of their events on Peacock because Peacock is a greater network. But now he's saying he wants to bring those two back because they would be best suited to help in these negotiations, which is very interesting.
Isn't it? Can I pause right there for a second? Like he wanted to go to Peacock. They wanted to continue to have their over-the-top, their own streaming network.
Mm-hmm.
So he fired that? Like, that seems like just something you could disagree with. And then like, okay, but
they felt strongly enough about it where they were like, look, I don't think there is maybe they felt like, look, I don't think this is the right strategy for this company. And I wouldn't be it was probably at a impasse.
I see.
Where they put their foot down. And so they probably gave him an ultimatum, and he took the ultimatum. Yeah. He's like, get the fuck out of here. But now he's saying they're the best. So here's what's happening. That's 3 people that he's adding onto the board, himself and the 2 former presidents. That means 3 people had to have been removed from the board, which he did. And he had the legal right to do because, again, he is the top shareholder. And after that, 2 additional members of the board resigned, one of whom was the person put in charge by the board to do the investigation. No, the investigation into these sexual assault allegations.
No. So Sable's still on the board?
What's interesting is when Vince McMahon said he wanted to come back, the board of directors responded back to him.
H-O-I-N-E.
Oh, no.
Sorry, Rob.
The board of directors responded to him saying, we unanimously think this is a bad idea. And on the board of directors is his daughter, Stephanie McMahon, and his son-in-law, Triple H, and Nick Khan, the guy that he brought in to replace the former presidents who negotiated these awesome deals. And he's saying that Vince McMahon is saying that he's not interested in coming back and changing the managerial structure, because right now Triple H is essentially running the creative side. Stephanie and Nick Khan are running the business side. He's saying they could still do that. I just want to come in to negotiate these contracts. But no one's believing him. Everyone thinks it's bullshit. Anyway, it's insane. It's literally the show Secession on HBO.
Yeah.
This exact storyline is basically what that show is, but it's real life and it's fucking crazy. Oh, and so analysts are saying the reason he's doing this is because he doesn't want if he sells the company, he'll no longer be the majority shareholder. So he wants to sell the company to someone that would position it in a way where he would still be the one in charge. That's why he wants to be in charge of negotiations. And it actually came out in what would be the funniest outcome of this, that another potential suitor is the Saudi Arabian government, is the Saudi Arabian, like whatever they call it, like their entertainment fund, like whoever owns that controversial golf league, like whatever, front owns that, like they would be interested in purchasing WWE. Wow. Which I think would be the absolute funniest outcome.
Niazi is psyched about that. At least he probably gets a cut of those profits.
Yeah.
Good job, Niazi.
So that's the Vince thing.
Wow. So where's it at right now? Is he back or is it still?
He's back. Yesterday, he forced himself back on the board. Yikes. So now they're saying they're going to negotiate. They're saying there's no sale. Like they're open to be sold, and they're negotiating, but there's no sale. There might not even be a sale. Yeah. There might not be anything.
Can we just say what a slimy, disgusting human being he is? Like,
Oh,
he's
yeah.
such a and I know this is not breaking news or anything, but he's such a piece of shit. Like, everything he does, he can't do anything without being a piece of shit. Like, the smallest thing he can't do it without being a piece of shit. It's amazing.
Was he always this way, or did he slowly turn into his like on-screen character in real life?
No, like he put like the way that the WWF became prominent was because he bought up every territory or went into their territory and put them the fuck out of business. Like, he stole.
Yeah, he was always this way.
He's a piece of shit. Just like, I think the advancing technology allowed him new and different ways to like be a piece of shit.
Fair.
But he's always
Like the
been-
Jimmy Snuka stuff was in the 80s. You know, that was
right.
covered up a murder.
And then he knew, and he covered up Fabulous Moolah being a pimp for all the fucking female wrestlers and everything.
Yeah, and his ring announcer, he knew his ring announcer was sexually abusing ring boys and didn't really do anything about it until the cops started sniffing around.
Pat Patterson was right, wasn't he had a molestation scandal or something?
Well, he's kind of like tied into that. It's a gray area on how involved Pat Patterson is.
Okay.
Some people say he is. Some people I can't say one way or the other, but Pat Patterson has definitely had some allegations made against him.
Okay, fair enough.
Roddy Piper being the most famous person to make some allegations against him, which I've looked into it, and it's like conflicting things. Like, there'll be ones where he's like in serious despair about like how Pat Patterson made advances towards him, and then there'd be ones where he said like, "Oh no, I was exaggerating." I'm not sure. I think that there might have been one where he
recanted.
He recanted, yes.
Oh,
but he had a fucked up. He like for some reason Roddy Piper's just one of those guys that male sexual predators found attractive.
He's a very handsome man.
He was a handsome young man as well, and he had some stories of rape growing up, which were not cool, and sexual abuse, which were not cool. It's a
As
bummer.
opposed to the ones that are cool.
Well, it's interesting because later, like Darren and I would
tell
always
us some cool rape stories.
Well, it's like when James Dean rapes you. It's not good, but it was cool. He was such a cool guy. You know?
The actor or the porn star?
That's not.
Well, James
That's not
Dean,
where I
the
was
porn star, probably. I think he
wasn't he a rape? Did he have rape allegations?
Yes, he definitely did.
So
So
there you
that's
go.
why I was
Not that
confused.
guy. I meant the movie star.
Okay.
He didn't live long enough. To
the
rape
reason
him.
I'm saying it was interesting because before I really looked into this, when Roddy Piper in like the late 90s would be in WCW, he would always he would be like flanked by this like younger guy always who wasn't a wrestler, and we would always be like, is that like his like boyfriend or something? Like, who is this guy?
Who
why
are you
is
talking about? Who said
Roddy Piper?
Oh, okay.
And I remember at the time, Darren, you and I would question us like, is Roddy Piper kind of like on the DL? So it's interesting that like he very much wasn't. He was like married at the time. He had
It was
he could have been.
It was
But
homophobic too.
he would make weird homophobic jabs, but then also he had this very unnice past, like
Right. I mean, when a guy like
a very
if
dramatic
you have
past
the
with,
misfortune
with
to be
male on
molested
male.
by a male sexual predator, I'm not going
Yeah.
to say that excuses being homophobic, but I kind of understand where your head's at least.
Right. Yeah, I would agree with that. Let's see what else.
Well, I just want to say also, like AEW must be like they licking their chops to see Vince McMahon coming back because they've been having a rough time, and like just to throw that disarray into their competitor, seems like probably a good thing for them.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a very odd situation, I think. But yeah, it could be good, it could be bad.
How so? How could it be bad?
Well, how could it be bad for AEW? You mean?
Yes. I mean,
well,
specifically Vince McMahon coming back.
If the negotiations could go in such a way where it would affect AEW negotiations, which come up next year as well.
But like
that's the big question right now is would AEW also has their negotiations coming up next year. AEW is the main competitor to WWE. They're a relatively new company. They've only been around 4 years. This is their first contract renewal, I believe, or second technically. And if they need to get a rights increase in order to be able to compete with WWE in regards to having enough cash flow for salaries for main event guys. Because WWE have 13 times the budget that AEW has. Of course, AEW is owned by billionaires, so theoretically
they could take a loss.
They could take the loss, but it's trying to be run as a profitable company.
Sure.
So they need the right, and now they're with Warner, and Warner's doing all these price cuts. All they're cutting all these shows. They're not exactly spending money right now. They're even talking about ditching the NBA, which is the highest rated stuff on their channels, just because it might not be worth the expense for them.
So essentially, AEW could theoretically wind up on like HGTV or something. They could, just not.
Well, I mean, they could. The worst case scenario, AEW is the highest rated stuff on TNT and TBS. The worst case scenario is they don't get that much of a contract increase. I mean, the absolute worst case scenario is they get canceled, but they're not going to get canceled because they're valuable to Warner. It's just they might not be valuable at a level where they get the price increase to then be able to start poaching talent with higher contract offers.
But the best case scenario for them is Vince McMahon comes back, negotiates a great deal for WWE. It influences the market as such that they get the trickle down where they get a great deal because the market has boomed because of this. And then Vince McMahon stays and ruins their show again.
Or even one better, Vince McMahon negotiates a sale of WWE to Comcast. And so Comcast wants SmackDown to be off Fox. So SmackDown moves to, let's say, NBC, which sounds so silly. But it could happen. And NBC doesn't get any ratings on Fridays. Now Fox is left without wrestling properties, and Fox wants wrestling. And AEW's contract negotiations are up, and they could end up on Fox. There is like a very outside chance that AEW ends up on Fox, and that could be the absolute best thing for them. They're on network television. But that would Fox want to get the number 2 thing? Like that would be like, oh, we didn't get the NFL, let's get the Arena Football League on. Would they?
It's not quite that big of a gap, right?
It is that big of a gap
to us, but to them it might be.
It is that big of a gap in terms of media awareness, I would say.
Okay,
but I think. You were talking about, well, can we get the number 2 thing or can we get 0 things? You get if WWE were to leave, and go to somewhere else because of Comcast. Well, okay, this is still a pretty good league and we can build it up. You know what I mean?
There's precedent though for that. For example, when WWE left USA Network in the early 2000s to go to Spike, ECW was negotiating with USA Network with Barry Diller, who we've talked about on the show before, in different contexts. And ECW was negotiating, and they would have come in at a much lower price. And Barry Diller said, if we can't have the number 1, I don't want it. And so they didn't want any wrestling.
Well, who knows?
So there's a lot of factors.
But ECW was as much as, and I went to so many ECW shows, it's got a piece of my heart. I love ECW. But it was a niche product. Like AEW,
right. AEW is far more mainstream. I agree.
Much more marketable.
It's a different market. But who knows? I want us to talk. Let's quickly talk about this Carrie King thing before we get out of here because it's too funny. I don't know. I mean, we could have saved it for next week.
And the Jericho thing too. We got.
Well, we gotta get at it. Which one? Which one should we?
Whatever you guys want. I don't care.
I say Jericho. We're already on the wrestling theme. I just and
it's 1/6. And 1/6 was mentioned. And it's topical.
Okay.
We'll save this Slayer thing for next week. It's
this joke from the roast.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a whole series of jokes that are all funny to me. Most of them.
Okay, let's get them. So this is from the Ric Flair roast. This is from earlier this year, I believe, in the summer.
Right. This is right
And,
before his last match. This was, remember, we talked about his retirement match. So this was like part of, they had a whole weekend of events and stuff, you know.
Yeah, so the roast was brutal. But
yeah, this guy was good. Who was
there were
this?
some
I don't even saying these jokes.
Wait, hold
I
on.
don't
Could
even
we
remember.
could we just look at Saucy Kev's question very quickly, Darren? You might have to.
Oh, okay. Saucy
Hey
Kev.
guys, so I'm newlywed and my wife wants to be circumcised. Should I do it?
That's a personal decision between you and your wife. I would say, well, can I get some more information? Like, why does she want you circumcised? And is the sex bad without the circumcision? Or how do you feel? Are you highly attached to your foreskin?
Did she spring this on you post wedding, or has this been something she's wanted all along?
He says it's like it's in the middle of winter. I'm going to be so cold. I don't know. Are you trolling a little bit? I don't know, because that doesn't. I never was like extra warmed by my foreskin.
Post wedding, she sprung this on him. Had she not seen your dick before the wedding?
Yeah. Did you not have sex before? Maybe she was just putting up with it, but now that they're comfortable and in a relationship that's bonded by marriage, that she feels like she should bring it up, you know?
Yeah, like she thought he'd break up with her if she said it before the wedding, but now it's that they're locked in.
Yeah, that's what he says. She just wasn't comfortable before saying it. So I would say
that is fucked up.
That is a little fucked up, but I understand. Like, you don't want to insult your partner. Maybe she loves everything else about him, but not his foreskin.
She doesn't like how it looks soft. Why is why is your dick soft in front of her all the time?
Oh, that's unrealistic. You're gonna have a soft penis in front of your wife sometime.
Turn the lights out. She won't see.
Well, you walk around naked in the house sometimes when you're just doing errands or whatever. Or you come out.
What errands are you doing naked, Darren? Tell us right now.
Maybe you came out of the shower and like I'm gonna get dressed, but I have to go do this thing, set the alarm, or do something in the house. So you walk and do that before you get dressed.
And it's that bad looking that she wants you to have a surgical procedure? That is so
Right.
fucked up.
Yeah, well, once he said that, I have to lean on your side, Sid, because that's a cosmetic thing. That you can get over. That's like you don't like the way your wife's areolas look or something. That's not cool. If it's something functional, like she can't have sex with you, I would say that's a fair complaint, but she doesn't like how it looks. I feel like you should stick to your guns on that. I'm generally anti-circumcision, but at the same time, I advocate anybody to do with their body what they want. But if you ask me my opinion, don't get circumcised. I regret doing it for many reasons, which I won't bog down the show with right now. I regret doing it. If you could stay intact, I recommend staying intact. But if you really feel a need to be circumcised, you're a grown adult, do it. Don't let somebody talk you into it. I would say sit down with her, have a nice discussion, and get to the root cause of why she wants you to be circumcised, and see if you can come to some kind of a common ground.
Maybe just like if you know you're going to be soft and naked in front of her, just like pull this foreskin back before you pass her. Just try to proactively make it more appealing looking in the moment so you don't have to go under the knife later.
Show her, like start showing her photos of famous people with foreskin, like those Brad Pitt photos of him on the balcony.
Wait, Brad Pitt is uncircumcised?
I believe so.
That changes
and by the
everything
way,
I ever believed about that man.
You hate him
I'm
now?
no longer a Brad Pitt fan. Fuck that.
I think also this is sort of getting to a point that's I encountered before I was circumcised, when I had sex, which is that a lot of women just really never there's so many people are circumcised in the US where we live, and they never encountered one, and they don't watch a lot of porn, or they never saw a man with a circumcised penis on video in any way. So it's unusual to them. But if I was with them long enough, they got used to it.
Yeah.
So it wasn't that big of a deal. So I think maybe just the first exposure to it is like, oh, this is a little weird, and then it's like no big deal to a lot of women, I would say. But also, I think Kev is trolling us a little, but I don't mind, because I think this is you brought up a valid question to talk about, even if it was intentionally a joke.
Yeah.
What are some quick reasons you regret the circumcision, Darren? I'm curious.
I feel like I did it for the wrong reason. Like I had a medical condition, which could have been corrected without circumcision, but my doctor was an Orthodox Jew and a good guy. I'm not, but this is just his beliefs, and I kind of went with it without questioning it.
So you think he was saying it more because of the religious side and not because of pure medical advice?
Not exactly. I think he was saying it because his religion informs him that this is the correct thing, and he advised me to do it because it's the correct thing. But his beliefs come from the fact that he's religious. Does that make sense?
Yes, yes.
And I also think I have not incredibly so, but I do think I have less sensitivity in my penis since being circumcised. Maybe.
That's a confirmed thing.
But sex feels still great. It's not like it's ruined sex for me or jerking off or anything. Like I think it's, if I would say it went down from like 100 to 95, but it's noticeable. It's noticeable. I also have stitches there. Like you don't really notice it day to day, but if a sexual partner is down there scrutinizing your penis, it's like a little bit of a Franken penis. And also principally,
has anyone scrutinized your penis, dude?
I would hope so.
Yeah, when you have sex, Rob, people don't like aesthetically examine, like not examine like in a doctor's office, but they don't pay attention to your penis.
But like to the point that I'm sorry. What I mean is like they've called out.
No,
you have like a Franken penis.
This man's wife is telling him it's so offensive that she needs him to have the surgery. People investigate penises, Rob.
I have never had it brought up. I've called attention to it, and then the girl went down there and looked and was like, "Oh yeah, I see this. Oh, okay." But like it was never in a negative context. But I'm insecure. I'm a little insecure. Well, but even if they were just being nice, it was never hideous enough for them to go, what the fuck is that? So it's not, it's a little thing, like, it's a little thing. It's a little thing, that, like a little noticeable thing, but it's there. But also, I think the fourth and most important reason is I just think in principle, I liked my foreskin and I got rid of it for a reason that I shouldn't have gotten rid of it. And there was no pressing real need to do it. And I'm against altering your body in that way. And I shouldn't have done it, and I did it. So that bothers me a little bit. And I would recommend anyone who's thinking of doing this, not going to say don't do it. Just make sure you want this because it's not reversible.
Yeah, I feel like I was actually just thinking about this not too long ago. Like came into my head, and I think it was because there was a segment actually on Howard Stern about it. One of what's his name, Sal, he's having a kid and he doesn't know if he wants to have his kid circumcised, and so they had like a expert out, like a foreskin expert or whatever, just like a doctor talking about it, and he said like, yeah, you would lose all these sensations, and it does hurt. What?
I didn't lose all the sensation. Like it's just
all these sensations, not like all the sensations.
And then he had like a PowerPoint of the different sensations.
Yeah. But at the and even though Sal agreed with him, he still said he wanted to get the circumcision because he thought it would be weird that his son's dick looked different than his dick.
This sounds familiar. Like we may have discussed this on the show before because I've definitely.
Anyway, so it made me think about it. Like if I have a son, he will not be circumcised.
You can't. I mean, it's such a body modification. People don't realize this. Like you're doing this to a baby. You're doing this to a baby. Like I know it's culturally accepted, and it's just nobody even questions it. And some people do it, some people don't. And I know, but most people don't have a problem with leaving the baby intact and all that. But it's way too culturally accepted to do this to a baby. It's a fucking baby. Like imagine cutting off a piece of their skin from their arm or somewhere else. Like I just feel it's cruelty, but not intentional cruelty. I think the people are well-meaning. Like most of the parents who do that, they don't hate their kids or they're not trying to inflict pain on their baby. Of course not. And I think most of them are good parents. It's just this is so much in our culture,
Absolutely agree. And it is funny how there's like a kind of men's rights uprising about this too.
That's a problem. It has bad bedfellows with like a lot of right wingers are anti-circumcision, and that's unfortunate. But they're right on this one point. I'm sorry, like I'm not going to oppose it just because some weirdos are also in the same camp.
Saucy Kev asks, "Do you have a picture before and after the surgery?"
I don't generally take pictures of my penis. I don't think I have a single one. I'm not. I've said this on the show before. I don't have like a particularly impressive penis. I don't think it's tiny.
Well,
It's
he's
like,
not looking at it for that. He just wants to see.
well,
the
no, but this
visually.
is the reason why I don't take
Ah,
pictures of my
okay.
penis. It's like, honestly, my penis, when it's hard, I'm happy with it. I used to want to have like an enormous horse cock because I watched so much porn. Now I've come to a place where I'm very happy with what I got. It's functional. It works, and I'm grateful.
And
for
the
those
thing you have to realize.
no, I want to add one thing. When my penis is soft, I have a problem with it. I think Sid and I both agreed on this. Like my penis is just not it. It's a major grower, Rob. I think
Same,
said in the
Same.
gay community. And when I go in the locker room, I'm embarrassed to take my pants off because it looks very, very small when it's soft, and that always bothered me. If there was something surgery to extend it when it's flaccid, I would opt into that.
You can do that with your
So
hand.
you're
though.
saying here? Let me ask you this, though, Darren. You're saying you're embarrassed when it's soft, but like, who cares? Like, why are you embarrassed in front of these strangers who you're not going to have sex with? What is
insecurity.
embarrassing about them thinking that you have a small penis? Like, are you less of a man?
I think it's a cultural thing that's ingrained in me that I don't want to be mocked for my penis size if they see me only in that state. Like if a girl I was going to have sex with would see me in that state, I don't care because I know she's going to eventually see it. Although I still wouldn't want that to be the first impression.
I was going to say I would feel that would be even more. I would be more.
But we can discuss it.
About.
I'm not going to discuss it with the guy in the gym. You know what I mean? Like, or in the steam room.
But But I'm saying, like, who cares about the guy in the steam rooms of it? Why do you care so much about it?
I don't really care.
Penis?
I don't really care at that molecular level that you're framing it as, but I do care for me. Like, I just don't want to be.
I'm saying, like, why embarrass? Like, why be embarrassed? Like, because I had that initially at the gym because I go swimming, so I do get naked basically at the gym every day because I have to switch in and out of my swimming trunks, and it was something that I was conscious of initially, but now I really don't give a fuck. Like for me, it's more about just being polite. Like no one wants to see my junk, so I try to cover up to be polite. But
that's another.
I don't care if people see my tiny flaccid penis. I'm okay.
I can't believe, bro. I just can't. I know we're getting off what you asked me, but I can't believe you have a tiny flaccid penis. You're so big, and I always imagine.
Are you shaming my flaccid penis?
We don't know it to shame it. We think you're being falsely modest.
Yes, I imagine Rob having I have one piece of evidence also that
leads
circumstantial evidence. I haven't seen it, but it's circumstantial evidence that I think you have a giant
shadow.
No, do you want me to? I think I said this on the show before, but I was at a party at Noah's house, and this is not going to a place where I saw Rob's penis, but I think we were all drinking or something. Noah's old house in Brooklyn, where I was talking to someone else and I heard a snippet of a conversation behind me between Rob and Marina. And Marina said something, and I can't remember this because it was 12 years ago. She said something to allude to Rob having a large penis.
How would she know?
Maybe he told
Rob?
her. Maybe they were like, I don't know if she knew you were gay yet. Maybe they were sort of like,
guys, look, we can settle. I am glad to show you my flaccid penis.
I don't want to.
We don't have to show it on screen.
Save it for Patreon.
We don't need to trigger our audience. But
I'm not asking this to get pics.
I'll show you just so you don't have to wonder anymore, and I could prove.
I don't sit there laying up.
I'm fine. I'm fine with it. It's fine.
What
I was going to say earlier, where you were like, "Oh, I wanted to have like a porn star horse cock."
Well, that's when I was really young, though.
Right, and I feel like that's a very common thing for young gentlemen to want. I had a very similar desire, but you come to learn that horse cocks for most people are not a pleasurable thing to consume.
Can I interject something here?
Sure.
I'm exaggerating in flowery language for the show. What I really wanted to have was like an 8 or 9 inch cock, not a real horse cock.
Okay, even a 9-inch dick is a lot for people to take, for a bottom to take. So
I didn't care. I was about myself back then.
And nothing will make you feel better than browsing the subreddit. If you are insecure about your penis size, browsing the subreddit "Big Penis Problems," forums where
Nah.
guys with big penises talk about all
Why
the
do you know
hardships
about
of
this
having a big
subreddit, Rob,
penis.
if you yourself don't have a big penis?
It's kind of famous. I remember that. I've seen that.
Yeah,
Like one of
because
the
there were
biggest
times where I
ones.
was insecure about my penis size.
I just can't believe that. You're like, but you're like 6'11". Maybe a small penis on you is like 7 inches.
okay. Darren, you know, let me have my truth. Okay, stop denying me my truth.
You're right. You're right.
Okay,
Rob has body dysmorphia where he thinks he has a small dick.
Rob, I'm very
It's actually
sorry.
huge.
You're 100% correct. I apologize.
All right, so now we're way over time for the
we had
show.
fun. We had fun. Are you pressing
so
to do
let's move on.
something?
We'll
Just play the Jericho
No.
clip. Just do it.
How big is Jericho's penis?
Oh, well.
Does it sag like his weird chest situation?
Oh, probably.
All right, here it is. Here's the Ric Flair roast, and they talk about Jericho. And for context, his wife on January 6th went to the Capitol protest.
She didn't go inside the building.
She did not go inside the building, but she was there, and there were screenshots of photos, and it was like the way she presented these photos. Like if you didn't actually look at the photos, it was like a gal's brunch. It's like, oh, what a wonderful Sunday, or whatever it was. What a wonderful night out with the girls. It's just, oh, we happen to be at a protest. So with that said,
in Rick's case, so is alimony payments. So, he once told me, he said, he goes, you know what? At one time, I owned 4 houses. I wasn't allowed in any of them, but I owned 4 houses.
Who is this speaking? Do we
I don't know.
Those
He looks like an old wrestler, though.
Yeah.
Like Nick Bockwinkel.
Speaking of Rick and money, I know that he was originally considered for the whole $1 Million Man gimmick that DiBiase ended up with. Can you just imagine, Rick, you and the IRS on the same page? That's like unbelievable. So as you know, Sunday night, we'll celebrate Rick's last match. And then in the wee hours of Monday morning, we'll celebrate Rick's last breath. It's amazing. Speaking of Sunday, it's amazing that Rick's wrestling again, considering he almost died in 2017, 5 years ago. And as I said, with the car shield, as your tranny might go out, but anyone that's out there that works for American Express or Visa or MasterCard, he did die in 2017. Just leave him alone. Look at the people up here. If this group was any lighter, Jericho's wife would storm the Capitol.
Gasp.
Is Jericho there?
I don't think
No.
so.
And I mean, not only white, but my God, how old is everybody? I think the term that my daughter uses for the kids use now is washed. You're all washed. Of course, except for Knobs. He hasn't showered since David Manning was relevant. So he's looking good in that t-shirt, though. As I mentioned, Nasty Boy Knobs is here. If you're looking for sags, check out Conrad's Man Boobs. He's right here somewhere in the center.
Conrad is this podcast that interviews all this wrestlers. He's
I
really
love you,
fat.
Conrad. I'm just kidding around. Besides being a successful mortgage broker.
by the way, this is Brad Nessler.
The sports announcer?
Yeah.
What?
Yes.
Who is he? I don't know who that is.
He does like all sorts. He does like college basketball and football. You've 100% heard Brad Nessler. He's like been omnipresent for like the last 40 years.
Okay. I don't know his name, but
he's like a poor man's Jim Nance.
Yeah, he's
Brains
good.
behind this whole Starcast.
Good delivery.
Wow.
Oh yeah, I guess that's the whole clip.
That's the Jericho is the highlight. The Jericho's wife joke. I enjoyed that. I think it was very good. Good roast.
It's a good joke. It would have been
No,
better if Jericho was there to react to it.
I mean, yeah, like that was the best 2 minutes of a like 90-minute painful experience. So
You were there?
Yeah, I'm sure it was. Yeah,
no, I
but
watched the the live stream.
I love the gasp when he tells the white joke. Like all the white people, that's
Yeah.
a good joke, but that hits me a little bit
Yeah.
too much,
Because they're still dodging the feds from when they were actually storming the Capitol. So
Yep, like you got me. Yes, I am extreme right winger. You got me.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, let's be real. Making a good amount of money, not highly educated, severe brain trauma from
Yeah.
that adds up to a MAGA like
Uh-huh.
twat.
Yeah.
Makes sense. All right. Let's talk about our playlists.
Yeah.
Every week we add us each pick a song, add it to our Spotify playlist. We call it the RAP Livecast Music Break. There's a ton of great music in there. And this week I picked God Forbid. I actually went to go see God Forbid yesterday. They played a reunion show in New Jersey, and it was a fun time seeing them and seeing all these people I hadn't seen in a little bit, and kind of doing like a flashback to 20 years ago when metalcore was hot, and like he had some metalcore bands open for him, Bleeding Through and Nora in particular. Shai Hulud also opened, but I missed them. And it was very, very interesting. It felt like a very nostalgic moment. You know, I was very reflective of how I was when I was actively listening to the music when it was just coming out, and now feeling old that it's 20 years later and I'm here at a nostalgia show for me. Like, you don't really see yourself doing this when actively consuming music as a youth, thinking like, oh, in 20 years I'm going to be at this same show, but it'll be a nostalgia show and everyone will just be very old. Because that's the thing. It's like, this was music for the youths in the early aughts, and now those same youths are fucking elder millennials. So it's like everyone's pushing 40 or older at the show. It was very wild. And also, I'm such a fucking crank that I didn't say the whole show. The show ended at 12:15. I left at like by like 11:30. I'm like, I'll stay for one or two more songs. And I got the hell out of there.
You made your
I'm
appearance.
old.
That's fine.
I am old. And,
But so is
and
everyone else there, right?
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Like, don't they know
Everybody
these people want to go to bed? Everyone has a babysitter that they need to send home.
To be fair, the rest of them actually live in New Jersey, so it's a shorter ride home for them. You're the only one who stayed in the city.
Yeah. Well, what's interesting is that it was almost the same amount of time it would take me to drive to Midtown was how long it took me to get to this part of Jersey. So it wasn't even that far, but just
You
the
just wanted to
idea,
get the hell out of there.
Just want to get the hell out of Jersey.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I did drop my pot coming into the show, and I almost had a panic attack about that, because I basically I put it in like one of these like joint tubes, like the plastic joint holder tubes, and then I'll sneak that I'll push that into my shoe, and I guess it popped out of my shoe, and I'm like, I just came in here, how did it fall out? And I'm looking around, and I see it, and I see someone just spotted it and was about to go up and grab it, and I ran over and I literally did a yoink. Sorry, that's mine. I think I was like, oh man, I was so close. I was like, all right, that's mine. Get away from me. It's my weed. Get out of here. Go. Shoo.
But isn't it legal everywhere now? Why do you have to hide it like that?
I don't know. Some venues are dicks about it.
I
Better safe
guess.
than sorry.
So what song did you pick?
So I picked Antihero from God Forbid, from Gone Forever, which was the album of theirs that I enjoyed the most. The album that really got me into them.
It's also a false title.
And fair. And they were great. They were wonderful. And it was so great to see everyone be happy, because I'm sure some of these bands play for like half empty rooms a lot. It's a full room. And so everyone, a full room of people that knew the music, you know.
Yeah.
So they were very, very excited to be there. So it was a very fun time in that regard. And God forbid, put out some great records. Also, though, it was just very funny how dated the sound is now. Just the sound of metalcore, of just like having like a very abrasive, aggressive kind of like breakdown. And then out of that comes a very melodic, singy kind of emo chorus.
I like that.
And
that's dynamics. Loud, quiet, loud.
Right. But you just immediately like, oh, this is very 2005. And
System of a Down, same thing.
and only so many bands could pull it off. I feel
They are good.
All of the 90s was also that sound.
Yeah.
A lot of the 80s, that's like alternative
Yeah.
music was formed on that sound. Plenty of bands pulled it off.
Right. Well,
Maybe
God forbid, it's just
anymore.
like it's just with these like God forbid and Bleeding Through open for them. They're good bands, but they weren't like the A tier bands. They were like the B. They were the perennial openers for these bands. So they didn't quite make it to that next phase like Lamb of God did. Or Killswitch Engage. So in a way, it was a little sad. Because it's like I don't know if sad's the term because it was a celebration, but it's like this is the furthest your bands can get kind of thing.
Still
You know what I mean?
something.
Yeah,
It's
it was
it's
still
an
a great
honor to
show.
be asked to open.
Yeah, they still played for like I don't know 1,000 people or something like that. So let me see.
And then during the week, they could go back to working at a pizza place. It's fine. Have their fun on the weekend and then back to work.
So it was over 1,000. It was like 2,000. Excuse me.
Well, are you okay?
Yeah, I'm great. There was some nostalgia for the venue as well.
Which venue was this?
Starland Ballroom.
Okay. Yeah,
I hadn't been there in a really long time. It's a great venue, and I'd gone there a lot for shows because also with Metal Injection, it was one of the last venues to unionize to get bought out by like it's owned by AEG now. And so that meant because they weren't unionized, they allowed us to shoot there. And so we would do like our multicam shoots at festivals.
Metal Injection, famously anti-union.
We're not anti-union. I'm just anti-paying $3,000 to shoot footage of a band that it's that kind of money on live footage. So we just got to work around that.
So for you, it's okay. Other people to be anti-union and work around union regulations is bad.
I'm pro-union, but
just not when it impacts you specifically.
I don't know. Like, I wasn't against the union in Irving Plaza. They have every right to exist there. But I need to get footage, so I'm going to go find a place where I can afford to shoot it.
But wasn't it a little close to 9/11 for them to be?
Yeah,
doing
seriously,
that?
Rob.
On Columbus Day of all days.
Yesterday's unions are not today's unions.
It don't fucking match.
All right, Sid, what's your pick?
Randomly enough, I mentioned Beck earlier, and I picked a Beck song because remember when people cared about Beck? That was around the same time people cared about God Forbid.
Amen.
I only ever liked one Beck album. I liked Odelay. The rest of his stuff before and after was sort of lost on me, but Odelay, which I think was probably his commercial peak as well. Mm-hmm. That or the one album before it with Loser. But pick the song High Five, Rock the Catskills. It's a fun rockin' song. And if you told me it was a B-side from Paul's Boutique of the Beastie Boys, I would believe you because it sounds so much in production and everything like a Paul's Boutique era Beastie Boy song, but it's really good. And yeah, Beck.
Yeah.
Famous Scientologist.
I really liked Odelay too.
I could not agree more with your assessment of Beck. I love that album. I think he's a talented guy. The stuff before and after, not a huge fan.
Yep.
But Beck has to be the number one like identified musician who people who want to pretend to be love music love the most of all of anybody other than jazz musicians.
Oh God.
Right. He is the jazz musician of rock.
I could see that. Yes.
He's just you want to pretend, and I think maybe this is not true anymore. This was the case 10 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
You want to pretend to be about music, you love Beck. The first thing on your list has to be you got to say you love Beck.
Yes. Yeah, I feel you on that. Yes.
And that doesn't mean he's bad. Like I think he's a really talented musician. It's not my cup of tea, but like that album, wonderful. Like he's perfect storm.
What was your pick, Darren?
Oh, yeah. I just realized that one of my favorite artists and one of my early crushes in life, Olivia Newton-John. Well, I didn't just realize that she died, but I realized that when she died last August, we never really talked about it, and I never professed my love for her. So I picked my favorite song, which I usually try to avoid major hits on this playlist because I think, what am I going to put Enter Sandman on? You know, like I don't want to play. The idea is to maybe expose a few people to new things. But I did pick a hit just because this is a huge hit for her, called Magic, which I love, and it's got like childhood reverberations for me. My mother really did not like Olivia Newton-John for some reason, and when it would come on in the car, just turn it off. She's like she's very syrupy and goody two shoes, and I don't like that. And she really had some kind of passionate hatred for Olivia Newton-John for some reason. And I don't know if that influenced me to like her, but also, I mean, she's extremely talented, beautiful, and everything you want in like a music star. I was really bummed when she died. So
yeah, same.
That's my song. And hope if you don't know Olivia Newton-John, that's like the epitome of her musical style is that song. It's just like this ethereal sort of like, she just, honestly, cliche, she sounds like an angel. Like, and I mean that in a literal sense, like not a cliche, but like sort of some kind of heavenly like veneer to her voice, like the like astral coming down from the heavens type thing. So that's a perfectly distilled version of it in that song. And that's why I picked that one.
R.I.P. a legend.
Very much so.
Very cool. And,
Hashtag R.I.P. a legend.
And again, I do want to mention our Patreon, patreon.com/RIP Livecast. $5 a month. Throw us some bones. We throw you some bonus episodes. Just posted, we have the first part of our two-parter with Sharon Osbourne, where we watch her documentary on Fox Nation. The documentary series was so good that it was picked up by over-the-top streaming network Fox Nation, which and it's very not good. It's her basically. It's her for 2 hours being like, I'm not a racist. I'm a good mother. I'm a good wife. I'm not a racist.
It's a long form version of her apology, non-apology apology.
And we had a really good time watching it. And so it's a two-parter. The first part is up. You can watch that now. You can also watch, we have a ton of watch-alongs. The Love Guru Kiss, A Phantom at the Park. What other watch-alongs do we have?
What are you blanking now? You
Yeah.
got the black metal one, the one
Until
about
the Light Takes Us.
Burzum.
One. Yes. Oh yeah. And then we also did the first Danzig movie.
Curtin Courtney.
Curtin
Yes.
Courtney. Yes. That was a good one. Lots of good ones. Lots of stuff in there. Patreon.com/RPL Livecast. You get full access.
And it's not just watch alongs. I want to say we have quite a variety. When we went to Tad Steaks, actually, we just released that on for free. But lots of other stuff. Roundtables about movies that we've all watched separately. And Mike
Some
Frances-
drafts. Some time we went through the Mike Francesa clips. Yes.
Hall of Fame episodes where we go over the past memes of our weekly show and go into their lives, what they're doing now, catch up with them. A lot of good stuff in there.
Yep. There you go. And if you want to throw us $10 a month, you become a top Livecast fan of the week. You get a shout out at the end of the show, which right about now. How are we doing this, folks?
You're Fat Joe. You're telling these guys what is different today than was yesterday.
Yesterday's Eric is not today's Eric.
He's
okay,
Puerto Rican.
Benjamin?
He's not Italian. He's Puerto Rican.
If you want pernil and pollo de sao, yesterday's pollo de sao is not today's Dan R.
Hey, yo, Mindy May's keeper. You get a little Patron. You know what I'm saying? You won't need to feel the need to wear that keeper anymore. You know what I mean?
Yesterday's Sam I Am is not today's Sam I Am.
Chasseur. Yesterday's chasseur is today's chasseurs.
Hey, Janda, you got to lean back a little. Lean back. Lean back.
Cattle decaf. You know what I mean? Yesterday's coffee is today's decaf. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? Dipset.
Yesterday's robber is today's vampiro.
That's true. That one is actually true.
Hugo likes tacos. You know what I mean? You know, you make tacos, you gotta make pollo guisado. You make pollo guisado, you gotta make white rice. Why is my lip drooping?
Now he had a stroke.
Lando Danks. Lando Danks says where I get my Botox. Yesterday's needle injections are not today's needle injections.
LaCroix, yo, I don't know why you be drinking that bougie shit, LaCroix. You gotta get like a tropical fantasy. Or be on some shit like that, LaCroix. You know what I mean? You feel me?
Corey and Scotty H. Yesterday's H is not today's H.
Also true. Also actually true. It's a lot weaker now, apparently.
Doug Pigman, actually, I'm being surgically altered slowly into a pigman. You're only seeing me in the middle state of my transformation. That's why you be mocking me for my facial droops. Wait till you see the final result when I'm an actual pig man.
Douglas, who are you, Levison? Yo, I don't know if you Levison, levitating. Get out of here, bro.
He's so mad at him.
Hey guys, it's Jose. Jealous one, still envy. You know what I mean? check out the Instagram of my fake beard. I made a separate account. You're gonna love it.
All right, that's our show, folks. Thank you for tuning in. Love you. We kiss you.
Did you
It's
do
another
hi guys?
year.
It's Josh.
Yeah, he said hi guys.
Yeah.
It's Jose.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
All right, guys. That's our show. We'll see you next week. Thank you. Bye.